Alright, we're going to start off by talking about the 10 essentials. Number 1 is a dog. Number 2 is coffee. 3 is a wife or significant other that you love. 4 is trail running. 5 is good food. 6 is a fulfilling job. 7 is staying fit and healthy. 8 is family and friendships. 9 is living somewhere that you love to be, and 10th essential is going to be balance between everything. That's not the 10 essentials at all. I just made that up off the top of my head, and it's just going to drag out the length of this video. Today I would like to talk about the 10 essentials, which is something near and dear to my heart, because it quite literally could save your life. And I've had the misfortune of being out on a run where not everybody came back, and I've dedicated myself to making sure that myself and my loved ones are always carrying the necessary supplies. And I recently posted about a run that I did and mentioned the 10 essentials, and some people had some questions. So I just want to go through and show the things that I actually carry with me every time I go out on a lengthy adventure run, and the things that I feel that everybody should be carrying with them when they head out. So let's get started. So the 10 essentials is not a set list. It's not set in stone. There are some variations depending on sport and interpretation, but for argument's sake, the majority of them are consistent across the board. And I'm just going to take a sec right now. I want to scan across the items that I actually just packed with me on the 46-mile run that I did in Olympic National Park. So everything that you see on this table here right now, including this jacket here, was all in my pack for the adventure run that I just completed with some friends. Now, within everything that I do carry with me, one of the main pieces is actually this. It's an emergency bivy, which takes up about this much space, but then the rest is emergency supplies, a kit that I've created. So I'm going to open that up right now. Okay, so you can see everything laid out here now. It all fits nicely into the bivy sack itself. So as we go through, we've got the emergency bivy, fire starting kit, matches, waterproof matches in a lighter, a headlamp. This one is 100 plus lumens, and I make sure to put the battery in backwards so that way it can't accidentally get turned on. I won't lose the battery. I can flip it around if I need to. Backup battery, backup light device, drinking source, a strap, which I would use to put the headlamp on my head if necessary. Could also be used as a tourniquet or in another manner, a zap strap, some antibiotic cleansers, wipes, band-aids, a signaling device, a mirror, a decent roll of duct tape, of medical tape, bandage, a signaling device, a whistle, a flare, and I've got a launcher pen for my bear bangers, a set of rope, some sunblock, emergency gloves, not just for attending to someone else, but also for keeping yourself warm if you are in an emergency, small knife, safety pin, and some lubricant. So now we'll go through each item one at a time, and I'll add in a few more that I think are necessary to put on top of the 10 essentials. So number 1 is a headlamp, a light, which we've gone over. I've got a light, it's over 100 lumens. The battery is in backwards, and that way I know I'm never going to lose the lamp by accidentally turning it on. I have a spare battery and a spare light source. Number 2 is a signaling device. First and foremost, one of the most important pieces you can carry is a whistle. Most people do not realize this. If you are in an emergency situation and you are yelling for help, you will lose your voice, and it's actually difficult to discern a voice in the wilderness. A whistle will always pierce the air, and you will never lose the ability to blow air into a whistle. So a very key piece right here. Signaling, if you need a rescue, a mirror to reflect the sun, it can go a long ways towards helping people locate you. And beyond that, having an actual flare that you can fire into the sky via a firing pin, which you would also use for a bear banger. So these are the signaling devices that I carry with me. Number 3, the thing you're going to want the most if you're spending the night somewhere, the fire starting kit. So for that you can get these flints, which will assist you in getting it started to begin with, but you'll also need waterproof matches and a lighter. Number 4 is spare clothes. So do not short yourself on clothes when you're out there. A lot of trail runners make this mistake. You're dressing for when you're moving and not dressing for if you're forced to stop. Something I like to say to people is, can you stay warm for 20 minutes in your environment if you were forced to stop moving? And that's just a prime example of, if you can't stay warm for 20 minutes, you're going to be in a lot of trouble really quickly if anything goes wrong. So in terms of spare clothes, warm clothes, I like these for the Solomon gloves because they're a bike glove that has a full wrap mitt, which is nice because it goes across all weather conditions. I would also carry a hooded jacket I also have a waterproof hooded jacket. I carry arm sleeves so I can alternate the temperature of my body in that manner. I would have an ear wrap, I would have a buff, and I would also have a lightweight toque. So these are all items that were in my pack for this run that I did on the weekend, and things that I would carry with me on any adventure run. Number 5 on the list is a knife. So I have a small collection of knives, just depending on how long I'm going and what I expect the conditions to be. A small locking blade emergency knife is the one that stays in and goes at all times. I've got another variant of a lightweight knife. I've got a slightly larger knife if I feel like I'm going to be in more serious terrain and I may need to use it. Again, larger knives. And then if you're really uncertain about your surroundings, I mean, it's up to you what size knife you want to carry, but I certainly feel safe when I've got this in my my solvent bag. Number 6 on this list is one of the most important items, and it is a shelter. A lot of people will pack a space blanket, and space blanket will come with Solomon packs, which is a great feature to have. Having spent multiple nights under a space blanket and having slept in an emergency bivy multiple times, I can say without a shadow of a doubt, if you ever had to use this gear, you're really going to see the deficiencies of a space blanket pretty rapidly and the benefits of having an emergency bivy right away. Emergency bivy will retail at REI or MEC for $20 or $25. It's basically a stitched together space blanket that comes out like a sleeping bag, and this will not only keep you alive, it'll actually keep you quite happy versus sleeping under a space blanket. That's a personal guarantee if you ever end up in an emergency situation. So I cannot stress enough how much I believe in the emergency bivy, and the slight weight addition definitely offsets if you ever have to use this. Number 7 on the 10 essentials list is food. You're not packing for the duration you're going to be out there. You're packing for the duration you're going to be out there along with some extra food just in case something were to go wrong. Just to give you an example, we were 13 and a half hours on our run this week, and this is the food that came along with me while we were out there. It was a bag full of food, and I actually didn't come back with anything. I consumed everything, which meant it was the perfect amount of calories for the day, but it also means that I made a mistake because I didn't have any extra emergency calories if anything had gone wrong. I think it was about 4,000 calories that I was carrying with me for 13, 14 hours. So never underestimate food, and always pack some just in case you may end up having to spend the night out there. So number 8 on the list is first aid. And this is up to interpretation. Some people will carry more, a mask and whatnot. This is the bare essentials I feel for first aid. But more important than the materials you're carrying is actually knowing first aid. So I really encourage everybody to take a first aid course and get certified in what they're doing. So my first aid kit consists of emergency medical gloves, which again will double as gloves to keep you warm in an emergency. Some antiseptic treatments, band-aids, bandage, duct tape, medical tape, a safety pin, and again a strap, which could be used as a tourniquet or anything really in an emergency situation. So these are the items that I carry with me as my first aid kit. We're already down at number 9, which is navigation. So a compass is going to go a long ways, but it will go further still if you know how to use it. So I encourage all trail runners to learn how to navigate, which is something I've been working on myself as of late. But I'll be carrying a compass with me, and then as soon as I arrive in my destination, I will buy the best map that I can find, and this will allow me to know exactly where I am at all times, so that, again, in an emergency situation, I will know how best to address it. In a group, I would know where I am and what the outs are, how best to get out safely. And then on top of the navigation is sourcing the information you need in advance. So for this route that we did, I found a blog posting from some people that had done it. I went into their Strava file, I downloaded their GPS route, and I uploaded it to Moves Count, and I put it on my watch. And while we were out there on Tuesday, there was a couple of snow fields that were obscuring the trail, and I could fire up the navigation feature on my watch, and I was able to say, the trail is just above us, let's all head upslope a few 10 or 15 feet, and sure enough, we found the trail without issue. So that saved us some time right there. So navigation is a key one. It really boils down to mainly compass and a map, some knowledge of what you're doing, but adding in every additional tool you can to increase your knowledge while you're out there and make things safer for you and everyone else. And number 10 on the list of 10 essentials is communication. Your number one tool while you are in cell range is your cell phone. And everybody knows this, and very few people take their phones with them. A phone can save your life. Just plain and simple. Whenever you know you're going to have service, or think you are, you should be carrying it with you. And when you're not going to be in service, something like this is vital. So, Spot Tracker, there are other devices on the market that do similar, others that do better in terms of allowing you to satellite message. This is not one of those. But what this has done for me, I've only had this for just over a year, and it has put my mind and the mind of my loved ones at ease, and it's allowed me to go out and do much bigger, more obscure, longer routes, and feel confident in the knowledge that I can keep myself safe overnight, and I can hit a button and somebody's going to know exactly where I am, and I'm just going to have to sit tight and find a way to keep myself alive, warm, and sheltered for a day, 2, 3 days until help arrives. And without this, you don't have that, and things become complex quite quickly. So this has really opened up my confidence level for getting out and doing larger stuff on my own, and I cannot tell you how much peace of mind this gives to everybody, including my wife, my parents, just to know that there's a button there that tells them things are in trouble, and I can message with this device and say, I'm late, things are okay. I can say, this is where I am, or I can press the SOS and search and rescue will know to come start looking for me. So that's number 10, communication, vital. Alright, so we've gone through the 10 essentials, and then these are the bonus essentials that I believe in and that I usually carry with me. So we will make some lists: sunglasses and sunblock, depending on the environment you're in. If you're in an alpine snow environment, then these are within your 10 essentials. Lube, very, very basic but yet important. It's not going to keep you alive, it's not going to be life-threatening, but it can keep you very happy. And what I like to do is actually take a small container and fill it with lube, and then I've got that with me if anything were to start chafing out there. Electrolytes, always carry a little bag of electrolytes just in case. Water purification. I was not a water purify guy until last year. I got a stomach bug, and then I went out and bought a water purification device, and I have not regretted it. My choice, the one I use, is the SteriPen Freedom. It is basically a small battery-powered device, so it is electronic, so things can go wrong, so it's not foolproof, but it's lightweight, it's cost-effective, and you simply put it in the water, and it takes about 30 to 40 seconds per bottle to fully purify that so that you know you're not going to get any stomach bugs. I mentioned the flares for signaling, also bear bangers. So we live in bear country, a lot of people out there do, and your bear banger is basically a double firing shot. You'll let go of this, and immediately it pops like a gunshot, and then it fires up, and another similar to louder gunshot goes up off above. That'll scatter most bears. In the case that it doesn't, this is one of the only, if not the only thing that is almost fail-safe to protect you in a bear attack. If you happen to startle a grizzly, if you live in grizzly country, there's not a lot you can do other than hold on and hope for the best. Bear spray is almost guaranteed. If you can get the canister off, it prevents an animal, prevents the bear from breathing, and there's not an animal on this planet that's not going to scatter if it attacks something and all of a sudden it finds itself unable to breathe. So bear spray is very important when you're in bear country, and myself and my wife, we now have a child, so it's very important to us to take all safety precautions, and we will make sure that we head out with bear spray when we're by ourselves in bear country. So that's it for my 10 essentials, along with a few bonus items. And feel free to ask any questions, and I'd love to assist if I can. Just mention something in the comments, and I'll get to that. And I hope you have gotten through this video, which is going to be a lot longer than I anticipated. And I hope that you yourself will start packing the 10 essentials and adventure safe. Thank you. So when you're planning an outing, a big outing with friends, you should all be carrying these items, and that should be communicated in advance. Someone should spearhead the group, and someone should mandate what people are to carry. And the biggest thing I have seen and learned over the years is that groups can get together and a lot of people can go into it without any real knowledge of what they're getting into. And the power of veto, the right for someone at any point to say, I'm not comfortable and I want to turn around, needs to be agreed upon and stated in advance. People get into trouble when they're not communicating properly with friends as to when they're going beyond their comfort zone. So number one above all of this is clear, concise communication in advance of the day and especially on the day. Carry those with you, talk to your friends, communicate, and adventure safe.